Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Hollow Knight Steel Heart tutorial. This section of the run is mostly just going to be running around and collecting things. We'll revisit some areas we've been to before and make sure we're getting everything we need. And let me start by apologizing. I'm not real sure what happened in the editing process. I'm kind of new to making videos like this. This is really the first time I've ever done it. And we don't appear to have any game audio, so I lost that somewhere. So you're just going to have to listen to me talk. Maybe I'll be able to put in some elevator music or something at some point. Anyway, sorry about that. So we're going to start this run by equipping the Shaman Stone, which I recommend you do already, or have done already. And we're going to come up here and we're going to kill Soul Tyrants. Going back through the Sanctum is no trouble at all. If you opened the shortcuts last time, you can mostly just go through the rooms pretty quickly. Incidentally, you do not have to kill Soul Tyrant. We are killing him to get 300 essence. We need 900 to get the Dream Gate. And we will get 400 of that from Lost Kin, and we need 300 from another Dream Boss. Soul Tyrant is one of the options. The other option is to fight Failed Champion. Failed Champion is a shorter fight. This fight takes longer. But because Failed Champion does double damage, and because he's very large and very fast, and there's fewer opportunities to heal, I think for most beginners or casual players, Soul Tyrant is just going to be an easier fight. He provides lots of opportunities to heal. He only deals 1 damage, and he's just more patterned and more consistent. There's less randomness in the fight. You don't have to deal with falling rocks, things like that. So I choose to do Soul Tyrant. If you want to do Failed Champion, you can do him instead. But I think Soul Tyrant is the easier and more consistent fight, even though he takes a little bit longer. It is pretty much the same fight that we had with Soul Master. You still want to use those fireballs as often as you can, especially when they will double hit. So when he's doing his clock move or when he's doing his charge across the screen, you want to make sure you get those fireballs in. And other than that, if you need to heal during the clock move is a good time to do that. The only real difference here is that he's faster, and the only move on which that makes a really big difference is on that dive. Because if it's a fake out, you just have a little less time to prepare for that. And the best way to deal with that is that when you see the dive, you want to dash over, and then you want to jump to clear the shockwave. And then if it's a fake out, you want to dash back towards him, so that you'll land in the middle where the shockwaves are dissipating from, or where they're initiating from. And he will be gone usually by the time you get over there. So that's the best way to avoid damage. He does have a lot of HP. That's why it's important to hit him with the fireballs. You're definitely intended to have nail upgrades before you fight this guy. So spells are really the main way we're dealing damage to him. And in this second phase, it's the same as the first. You can jump up and hit him as he dashes down at you. And just make sure you dash to get out of the way. And then in the second phase, you just want to dodge the missiles. Hit him if you need soul, otherwise just throw fireballs at him. You can get him on the first phase there. I didn't quite get enough damage done in time. But again, if you don't, you'll just have to dodge through this phase again. And then he should have very little health left in this second phase. And it should be pretty easy to kill him. Alright, so now that we've got him out of the way, we'll get the 300 essence from him. If you did not pick up the grub in the Soul Sanctum when we fought Soul Master, you'll want to go over and get that now. But if you did, you can just quit back to the bench. And the next order of business will be to go down and fight the Dung Defender. So you'll just make your way down through the City of Tears. You will have to do this arena, but it's real short. Just hit that guy 3 times, fireball, hit that guy 3 times, and do another fireball to kill these guys. And that's literally it. And then keep going down. In this room, we should have left the elevator in the up position. I forgot to do that. So I needed to hit it so that we could get through down here quickly. It didn't end up being quick, obviously, but again, that's just a minor time save, so it's not that big a deal. We pretty much want to stop by Lem and sell our relics anytime we come his way, so that we can have enough geo whenever we need it, and also so that we don't have to later go out of our way to get to him. So just anytime you're in this area, if you have relics, go ahead and sell them to Lem. And now we're going to go down and use the key that we picked up in that room above Soul Sanctum to get into the waterways. Once you're in the waterways, you're basically just making a beeline for the Dung Defender. You can go right or left. Just make sure you know where you're going, whichever route you choose. I like to hit this guy to build some soul. You want to have 2 soul charges going into Dung Defender. What's going to happen is when he spawns on the screen, he'll be underground, and you'll see like the little rocks moving around. And when that happens, you want to use your Descending Dark spell to knock him out of the ground, and then without doing any other damage to him, you want to immediately do another Descending Dark. And the timing will be such that you'll get hit right as he screams. And so normally that scream would paralyze the knight. You wouldn't be able to move or attack or anything. But if you do it at the right time and you get hit right as the scream is starting, you won't be paralyzed and you can sit there and nail hit him through the entire screen. Don't open the inventory like I did. If you do that, you can usually knock him over and stagger him again and get more Descending Dark damage. There is a skip for that second scream as well that we saw just a second ago. And if you can get that, then you can avoid him going into that phase where he's underground a lot. I don't know the timing for that, so that's something you'd have to watch a speedrun video for. And I know I'm saying that a lot. Just to be clear, like, this tutorial is really more for kind of the casual player who wants to get the Steel Heart achievement. If you are intent on like blazing through the game super fast with ultimate finesse, then the speedrun community is really where you need to be. So when you finish that fight, make sure you have enough soul for another Descending Dark. If you don't, you can get it from the guy in the next room. But you want to go down there, get that King's Idol, and then you'll come out here. This is the guy you can get soul from. I try to get soul from him so I can have it to heal just in case I mess up this next part. There is a skip that I'm going to do here. But I end up getting hit twice getting soul from the guy, so it's kind of a, I didn't get anything from doing that. The skip's right up there. I missed all the platforms, as I am wont to do. But basically, when you get up here, you want to ride that ledge all the way to the bottom of it, and then jump, and as late as you can, pogo dash on those spikes. And that's a skip that with a little bit of practice you can get it. You don't need to do it. You can just go back down through the waterways. It's not that much of a time loss, but it is faster to do that shortcut. There are also some acid skips there that you can do that I'm not going to do because they are more precise than I can really handle. So we're just going to come up here and do the arena to get into Yzma's Grove. Hit this guy for soul. You want 3 fireballs going into the arena to be able to just blaze through it. There are 3 sets of enemies, and they will all die to 1 hit of a fireball. So there's the first set, there's the second set, And there's the third set. All right, now we'll come down here. We'll get Yzma's Tear. And that will allow us to swim in the acid. And now we just need to get the double jump, and we'll have all of the movement abilities, I guess, except for Shade Cloak. And we'll go get the double jump here in just a minute. Once you've got the Tear, make sure you come over here and get the grub behind Yzma. And now we are just going to go ahead and make our way into the Ancient Basin. So we'll go through these next two screens, and then we'll do a Crystal Dash, that place where we pogo dashed across the spikes. We'll do a Crystal Dash into that room, and then we'll just want to stop the dash so that we can fall into the Ancient Basin. And you can hit these guys for soul if you need it. But it's not real critical. There is a bench coming up when we get to Ancient Basin, so yeah, just stop right there. And then in this room, you'll dash twice and then charge a Crystal Dash when you hit there. You will very often get across this room without getting hit. That guy will not always be in the way. He will sometimes be in the way, though, and so when he is, you'll just have to kind of do your best to platform across there. Take special care of that spear thrower, because he can kind of mess you up. And here, over on the left, is one of the Palors. So you can go in that room, you can fight a bunch of enemies and get a Palor. I end up doing that later, because that's kind of the way it was done in the speed run. But you might as well do it now, because later I end up having to come over here just for that. So there's no reason to not just go ahead and do it now. All right, well, Crystal Dash across this room. Make sure you stop before you hit those spikes. And in this next room, there's a bunch of Moleks. I guess they're not the brooding Molek, but they're these guys. And I'm just going to go around them. I don't bother killing them. A couple of them will, I'll just damage tank through them. You can dash past these. Sometimes you can get by that guy without getting hit. Dash past this guy. Go down here and get the simple key if you want to get the God Tuner or go to God Home at all. God Home, the God Tuner I think is worth 2%, and then God Home is worth 4. There's 4% in God Home if you do each of the first 4 Pantheons. I don't do them in this run. Again, those are considered dream fights, so they are free, but of course, they take a long time. And since this is kind of a casual steel heart, quote unquote, we're not going to worry about the boss rushes. There's a skip there on the right. I've never gotten it, so I just don't even go for it. And it doesn't save hardly any time. All right, and that last Molek, I didn't say this, the last Molek in that room, I usually hit him to make sure I can heal up and have some soul for this fight. This fight's not too difficult. Mostly what you want to do, you can kind of use your fireballs to make Broken Vessel keep his distance. Broken Vessel and Lost Kin both take a lot of knockback from your fireball. And so it's a good way to just kind of push them away from you. When he gets stunned, you can use D-Dark. And then when he goes into this bullet hell move, you can D-Dark him there too. Be a little bit quick about it so you don't get hit, but that'll give you enough iframes to kind of dodge all of those fireballs. And usually by the time he gets there, a couple of D-Darks will get the job done. All right, now we're going to go over and get the Monarch Wings. And then once we have those, we will come back and we will fight Lost Kin. Like I said before, we need the essence from Lost Kin so that we can get Dreamgate. Between Failed Champion and Soul Tyrant, you kind of have a choice because they each give 300 essence, but Lost Kin gives 400, and we need that extra 100 for the Dream Gate. So you do need to fight Lost Kin, and when you're fighting him with a level 1 nail and 5 masks, this is a very challenging fight. It was meant to be done with a lot more upgrades than what we have right now. We are going to be relying heavily on our spells, especially the Fireball, to kind of make him keep his distance. But just know this is a challenging fight. It will take some practice. It will take some doing, but you can do it. You can learn it. I know my first time it took me many, many tries before I was able to beat him. But once I kind of knew the fight, it was pretty quickly, it became consistent pretty quickly. So I think I do die to him here once, but I'm pretty consistent about getting this, in the first 3 tries for sure. Often it's in the first try, but not this time. But you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Sometimes you can get in a place where he's kind of across from you, and he spawns those jellies. And if you can kind of hit those jellies and then fireball him as he's across the screen, he'll just keep getting pushed back and back, and he can never get close enough to you to really do a lot of harm. So that's a good way to fight him. Another important thing in this fight is, as much as possible, you want to stay on the ground. Don't not always, but don't go airborne unless you have a good reason to. Jumping up is dangerous because obviously Lost Kin can jump very, very quickly, and those jellies can spawn anywhere. So just make sure, as much as possible, you're staying on the ground. And hit him with your nail. Make him keep his distance with the fireball. He staggers a lot, so take advantage of that to heal. Excuse me for a second. Sorry, had something in my throat. Take advantage of his staggers and heal when you can. It can be a little difficult when you're fireballing him because the fireballs will double or sometimes even triple hit, and so you'll immediately knock him out of a stagger, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, sometimes if he's staggered and you're at full health, you can just D-Dark. You can also use D-Dark anytime you're in kind of an emergency situation and just need the iframes. But if you hit him enough, he will eventually go down, and you can get the 400 essence from him. And again, it's a dream fight, so you have as many tries as you need to get through here. It does not count as a death. And I would say this is probably the most challenging section of this entire run. So if you can beat Lost Kin, you can do the rest of it. So good luck. After him, we're going to come over here. We're going to get the grub. Hang on. All right. We're going to come over here. We're going to get the grub. And then once we hit the grub, we will just teleport back to the bench. All right, now we're going to head over to the hidden station, which is just up here by the palace grounds. And we're going to stag back to Forgotten Crossroads and get the glowing womb charm. So this is the point in the run where you will want to fight Failed Champion if you're choosing to do that instead of Soul Tyrant. You'll go up and get the glowing womb, and then you'll just walk straight over to Failed Champion. If you guys can hear me coughing, I apologize. I had a bowl of cereal and I managed to get something on the back of my throat just before recording this. I don't have COVID or anything like that as far as I'm aware. So I do apologize for that. All right, when you get into this room, you can go ahead and crystal dash across to avoid those bench flies. The crossroads are infected now that we've killed Luskin, and so the bench flies have gotten much more aggressive. So, you just want to take care of them. Coming through here, go ahead and hit these guys a couple times. Up slash that other one, pogo that guy. And then in this room, the strategy is just get soul from the guy up top there. Stand on that top platform. Get soul, drop down, and fireball. Get soul, drop down, and fireball. Try to get both of them. And then on this last one, usually if you have a little extra soul, you can just fireball. I didn't, so I did have to dance around on the platforms for a little bit, which is not ideal, but what you don't want is you don't want to get in a situation where you're having to chase those mothers all around the arena while they're just making children, and then things get out of hand. All right, now that we've got going Loom, we're going to go back to Dirtmouth, and then we'll go straight over to Howling Cliffs from there. We do want to make sure that we sit at the bench here. We are going to be saving and quitting back to this bench a number of times, so make sure you sit at it. And we'll just climb up here and go back through King's Pass. If you dash here, you can dash for quite a ways. And then you'll take the little secret room over here up to the Howling Cliffs. When we get to Howling Cliffs, we're going to go get the Cyclone Slash. It's one of the nail arts, and I think it's either 5 or like 7 hits in quick succession, which can be pretty useful both for getting soul. It can also be useful just for dealing damage. We will use it on some of the later bosses. We don't use it much in the immediate future, but it is nice to have. One thing about it, and this is something that I did not know for a long time, if you just charge the art and hold up and let go of the button, it will do the Cyclone Slash, but it's only like a very short version of it. So to get like the full extended version of it, you have to keep tapping the nail button. That took me a while to figure out. But it's way more effective that way. So I recommend doing that. That way, that's how you get like I don't remember if it's 5 or 7 hits, but it's a lot of quick nail hits. All right, now we're going to fight Gorb. He will give us another 100 essence. The Dream Warriors, Gorb, and there will be several others that we fight later on. You're intended, well, I won't say intended. Their HP scales with your nail level. I think the devs didn't really know like when you would encounter them or what equipment you would have when you came across them, and so they made it so that their HP scales with your nail level. Since we have a level 1 nail, they don't have a lot of HP, but we have like maximum damage spells. Our spells are fully upgraded, and so we'll be able to dispatch them pretty quickly with fireballs or descending darks or later abyss shrieks. So you can see Gorb there went down to, I think it was like 4 fireballs. Some of them double hit. You can immediately get him down if you get all double hits on the fireballs. But I think mine must not have done that. Go ahead and collect his essence. That gives us 800. We're going to go ahead and dash into this room. And I'll just dash all the way across, fall to the bottom, and get the King's Idol. You don't have to do this. but it does just make it to where I don't have to worry about geo or pay attention to it really. So that's what I do. Once we do that, we want to come up and get Grimm, or the Grimm troop. We want to unlock the Grimm troop so that they'll appear in Dirtmouth, and we can start the Grimm Child quest. Also over here is the Lifeblood charm. Joni's Blessing, that's what it's called. Joni's Blessing is also over here, but we do need the lantern for that. We did the dark room in Crystal Peak, but the dark room here is longer and it's a little bit more treacherous. And since we have to come back here anyway to do banishment at the end of the Grimm quest, we just get Joni's Blessing then. All right, once that fire pops up, you can quit back to Dirtmouth. We'll go ahead and pick up the Grimchild charm from Grimm, and then we'll be off to the resting grounds to get the Dream Gate. All right, so the rest of this tutorial will just be kind of going around and getting the Grimm Flames. So there's 3 sets of them. We are going to get 2 sets of them and then do banishment. If you get all 3 sets, you can fight Nightmare King Grimm, and you can do whichever way you choose. Nightmare King Grimm is a dream fight, so you don't have to worry about dying to him. He is a pretty challenging fight, but it is fun and rewarding to fight him. The reason that I do Grimm or banishment is because it requires getting less Grimm Flames. So that 3rd set is located in some pretty out of the way places for this run. So I just don't bother. All right, coming into the resting grounds, you want to make sure you hit that soul statue so you get a few fireballs, because we're going to fight Zero, and if it's good to already have some souls so you can just kill him really quickly. You'll see here in just a second, a couple nail hits and then just fireball, 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 and that's all it takes. And again, that's because his HP is relative to our nail level, and since we have a level 1 nail, spells that deal a lot of damage will just take him out really quickly. And that is the last of the essence we need for now. 900 will allow us to get the Dream Gate, so we're going to go talk to the Seer. We'll pick up Dream Shield on the way up there, and then we'll go get Dream Gate. We'll be making a lot of use of the Dream Gate. Not all of the uses that we will do are necessary, but they do save, small amounts of time here and there. They prevent us from having to backtrack and do a lot of traversal that we would not otherwise have to do. And in some cases, they make the run genuinely safer. So just keep that in mind. You can follow what I do with the Dream Gate, or you can choose kind of, how to do your own setup if you have ideas that you like better. But I do recommend using it when you can. It does cost essence. We're not too worried about that in this run. We will get more than enough essence to hear the Seer's last word. Just know that, if you end up going crazy with it, you may have to stop and hit one of the dream trees or something like that. We will not be getting most of the dream trees. The Whispering Roots is what they're called. We won't be getting most of those. We do hit one in Queen's Garden later on, just to make up a few essence that we used dream gating. But for the most part, we'll be avoiding them again just because they take time. And we'll be killing enough dream bosses and warriors that we won't really need it. Now that we have Dream Gate, we're going to go ahead and equip the Grimchild charm. So usually I just replace the Spell Twister with Grimchild and keep Shaman Stone equipped. And we're going to take a little shortcut up to Crystal Peak. You're just going to wall jump up this ledge as if you were going to King's Pass, but then we'll Crystal Dash in the other direction. And use the background as your cue here. There's like 3 sets of mountain there, earth, whatever that is. And the 3rd set is where you want to stop the dash so that you can grab that elevator. All right, there's a grub in this room that we want to get. And then if we can, we also want to get some soul off of that mimic because there's a Grim Flame up here and we want to have 2 fireballs available to quickly kill the Grim Flame. It's not absolutely necessary, but the Grim Flame does a lot of teleportation and they can be, pretty far out of range. And since there's a lot of spikes and stuff, it's not easy to get into range. So having a couple fireballs to kill him quickly is the way you want to go. Since I performed pretty poorly against the Mimic there, I only have 1 fireball. So I am going to have to hit this guy with my nail. You can sometimes get a double hit. Looks like he got caught in the wall there, so we didn't double hit. Alright, and now since I'm only on 2 HP, which is not ideal for Crystal Peak, I'm going to come up and hit this crystallized husk to get some soul and heal up. As you come into this next room, you want to just set a dream gate here by the passage up, because we're going to go down and grab Deep Focus. And it's just another little platforming section with lasers that we'll have to get through. So in order to avoid coming back through that room and then having to come back through these guys as well, we'll just dream gate back. When you come into this room, as soon as you hit this landing here, you want to charge up a Crystal Dash and then go as soon as you can there. Here again, as soon as you can go, you want to go pogo off that 3rd shooter. And then this one is always synced. So that those first 2, the lasers, if you don't go immediately, they do desync. And sometimes you have to wait quite a while for another window to get through them without taking damage. So it's best to just go at that first window as soon as you can. The 3rd set you don't have to worry about. They stay in sync always. Alright, we're going to fight the Crystal Guardian. He sits on this bench and lets you dream nail him as many times as you need to heal and get soul. So take advantage of that if you need to. Once the fight starts, I like to start with the Cyclone Slash, and then pretty much the rest of the time we're just going to be using Descending Dark to deal damage to him, and that'll make pretty short work of him. You can see 3 Descending Darks took him down there. He's going to go upstairs and become the Enraged Guardian. The Enraged Guardian is protecting a Mask Shard, but I'm not going to get all of the masks in this run, so I'm not going to worry about that. Enraged Guardian deals 2 masks of damage, and his fight is a little hectic, so there's not really any opportunity to heal. And so it's just pretty risky with only 5 masks, so I don't bother fighting him. You can if you want to. If you're really comfortable with the fight, that's fine. Or even if you just want to come back later and fight him when you have nail upgrades or whatever and more masks, that's fine. You want soul going into this room, fireball that guy, and then just Crystal Dash across. Your fireball may or may not kill this guy, but you can dash under him either way. And then getting out of this room, I recommend Crystal Dashing, stopping on the 2nd platform, and then Pogo Dash on those spikes, or Dash Pogo on those spikes. We're going to do a little skip here, come over to this platform, and then double jump, Pogo, Dash, double jump, and wall jump to get up there. That should be pretty straightforward to figure out, but if you just can't get it, you can always go around. It's just a time saver, so Not terribly important. And then you can go through this room kind of however. Just try not to take too much damage here. If these crystal shooters become problematic, just fireball them. And then in this next room, we're going to do another skip. You're intended to kind of crystal dash. You go all the way to the right, crystal dash all the way to the left, and then crystal dash back. But since we can pogo on spikes, we're going to make use of it here and just go straight up. And now we'll come to Hollownest Crown and grab the Pale Ore, and then we'll quit back to Dartmouth again. All right, so when you come back to Dartmouth, you want to make sure you buy the lantern from Sly. I forget to do it here, and I'll realize once I get to Greenpath. We're going to go to City Storerooms, get the Grimm Flame that's there, and then from there we'll go to Greenpath and do a little collection run through Greenpath. But one of the things we're going to do in Greenpath is fight No Eyes, and you cannot actually access No Eyes unless you have the lantern. So you can go into her room, and it's all dark, but she will not appear, or he. I don't actually know what the gender is there. But he or she will not appear unless you have the lantern. So you want to make sure that you have that before going to Greenpath. With this guy, you can get soul from those husks, since you don't have any, as we just saved and quit. And then fireball him. Or you can just hit him with your nail, whichever you prefer, but it's usually easier to get him with a fireball. And now we're on our way to Greenpath. And I'm going to realize shortly that I did not get the lantern. And turn around and go back. And this is another place where, if you have some extra geo here, you can pick up a mask shard. I don't have enough, which actually threw me off a little bit. I thought that I had missed something, especially after No Eyes when I picked up the mask shard there, and I was 2 mask shards short of where I normally am, and short geo also. I thought, oh no, I must have missed something. And I had to think about it for a while to figure it out, but that was just because I didn't fight Enraged Guardian. I didn't pick up his geo or his mask shard, and consequently didn't have enough geo to buy a mask shard. So that's why I was short. I didn't actually forget anything. Yeah, if you have enough geo there, you can pick up a mask shard. If not, it's not a big deal. We'll get it later. Mask shards don't really matter until you're going to get the 4th one, so... Alright, just come down through this room. There's no special techniques here. Hit this switch. And then when you get into this room, go ahead and set a Dream Gate. We're going to go get Great Slash. And the room in between us and there is kind of long, so rather than reach reverse it, we'll just be able to Dream Gate back. In this room, you're pretty much just crystal dashing and making sure you don't dash into those guys. Here I go ahead and crystal dash and just make sure you stop the dash before the spike's there. And then here you can dash from this platform or from the wall. If you dash from the wall, you'll go straight through the door. Just make sure you stop the dash in time so you don't run into those spikes, like I did. And again, here you can just jump up and grab the wall on the right rather than go around to the left. It's a little bit faster. And Master Shio here will give us the Great Slash. It's another one of the nail arts. It does pretty good damage. We don't make very much use of it in this run, but we will use it specifically in the Colosseum, mostly to handle primal aspids. That's its primary use. All right, we're going to come over here. We're going to pick up Thorns of Agony. And it's right up through this room. And this is another thing you can do with the Crystal Dash, is you can kind of use it to get some finesse on your position on the wall, which isn't something you need to do a lot, but in a few cases that can be helpful. If you just kind of tap the Crystal Dash button, it'll let you kind of slide down the wall slowly. And again, it's good to have soul for that guy. If you don't have any, you can come over and get those little mossy vagabonds, and they'll give you enough soul to get a fireball. In this room, we're just going to go straight across, and then we'll set a dream gate here. We're going to go to the right, pick up a couple of grubs, and then we'll just dream gate back there so we can go down. And the second grub is up in this room. You can just pogo across these spikes. And then dream gate back. We'll drop down here. This is another section of the run where we're not really taking any benches because we want to be able to save and quit back to Dirtmouth. Go ahead and drop a gate here next to Noah's chamber. We're going to run over and get the, what's this guy called? A massive moss charger. If you have enough soul for 2 fireballs, that's good. You can just fireball him twice straight out of the gate there, and that'll be enough to kill him. If not, you'll have to just get enough soul for the next fireball, and that'll kill him. We'll come over into this next room. There's going to be a grub and a vessel fragment. There's also a chest with some geo in it, but it's only like 60 or 70 geo, so I don't bother with it. But it's right up there, so you can get it if you want. And there's our grub. And up here is our vessel fragment. All right, we'll dream gate back, and now we're going to go down into Fog Canyon, and we're going to get the Howling Wraith spell. We don't really use the Howling Wraith spell at all, but once we upgrade it to the Abyss Shriek, it is very useful. The Abyss Shriek is the, I think, heaviest damage dealing move in the game. It's possible that a full Cyclone Slash is more, I don't know, but I think there's a little shortcut there where you can dash under the spikes. I think the Abyss Shriek is the heaviest damage dealing move in the game. So we definitely want to get the Howling Wraiths so that we can make use of Abyss Shriek. It'll be helpful clearing out a lot of bosses. You can get some soul from these guys. There's a little arena in here that's got some of those mosquitoes. And it's useful to be able to fireball them just so you don't have to chase them around the arena, because there's a lot of small platforms and spikes. So you just want to go up to top to initiate the arena. and then just as you can, hit these guys and fireball. Sometimes you can get it to where they'll line up for you. You can get 2 or 3 mosquitoes with a single fireball, but if not, you just have to chase them down. And then go ahead and heal before you get Howling Wraiths, so that you'll be at full health. Howling Wraiths will completely fill up your soul meter. So you'll have full health and full soul going into the No Eyes fight. And you want to have full soul going into No Eyes, because she's another fight that if you're not able to immediately kill her with fireballs, then you're going to have to chase her around the arena, and that can be just mildly annoying. And if you did need to use soul to heal or whatever, you can hit Audrey there for some extra soul. Alright, here's No Eyes. She kind of teleports randomly around the arena. Again, my first fireball I think missed entirely, and then neither of the second 2 double hit. So now we're in kind of a nasty spot where we have to dodge all these ghosts and go find her while she teleports all over the place. I'm not 100% sure this is true, but I suspect that it's true. After a certain HP threshold, I think she starts spawning a lot more of these ghosts, and so running around the arena can be more and more treacherous as the fight goes on. So if you get into a bad spot, you can just kind of sit here at the bottom and wait for her to kind of come to you. It's relatively safe down there, because there's only going to be a couple of ghosts spawning there, and they're easy to dodge if you're in the middle. All right, we get the Mass Shard, and now we will quit back to Dirtmouth. That's the end of the second run through Greenpath. And once we get back to Dirtmouth, we have collected 3 of the Grimm Flames. So we will go trade those in for an upgrade to Baby Grimm there. And now we will go get the second 3 Grimm Flames. So one of those is back over in King's Pass. So we'll go get that one real quick, and then we'll just quit back to Dirtmouth again. And then one of them is in Resting Grounds, and one of them is in Kingdom's Edge. So we'll go get those 2, and we'll make a stop at King Station. We'll go ahead and bench there and put a Dream Gate there because it's going to be kind of a central location for us. Make sure before you quit out here that you see the flame consumed text, so that you don't quit out too early and not get the flame. And then up to this point, I've been mostly following the 112% speed run. But once we get this second Grimm Flame, after that the speed run would go over and kill Hornet Sentinel. And that's really where the fights start to get a little bit tough. Hornet Sentinel with a level 1 nail and 5 masks is not super easy. It can be done for sure, but it's a little bit risky. So that's where we'll start to deviate from the speedrun route, and we'll start going and getting extra masks, nail upgrades, charm notches, things that'll help us make those tougher fights a lot safer. so that we can kind of be relatively sure that we won't die. So over here in Resting Grounds, before we grab the Grimm Flame, we are going to come down here, get the Grub and the Soul Eater charm. These brown mummy looking guys will die to a fireball and 1 nail hit. They do 2 masks of damage, so steer clear of them if possible. And then just above us there is, what's her name's? The Flower Quest lady. But we will not be talking to her because we don't like Flower Quest. And I can't remember if I talked about that earlier or not. There are lots of percentages in here that we don't do. And some of them I don't do just because they're annoying, not because they're dangerous. So you'll just kind of have to gauge for yourself which ones you prefer to do, which ones are the safest for you to do, and things like that. Like I said, I don't do the Pantheons, and I don't do Flower Quest. Even though they are relatively safe, they just take a long time. Alright, so now that we got the Grimm Flame there, we're going to come down to the city, and we're going to go up and do the arena and get the Vessel Fragment. This arena has a lot of enemies, so you want to make sure you've got enough soul going into it, because you'll want to be able to just fireball and clear out the room, and you're going to have to do that several times. I think there's like 4 or 5 waves of enemies, so it's quite a lot compared to most of the other arenas in the game. Alright, there we go. Yeah, this side of the City of Tears I think is considered pretty late game, so they start to up the challenge a little bit. But not so much that a Shade Soul with Shaman Stone won't still take most everything out in one shot. Alright, as we come down here, I usually kill these guys. They have quite a bit of geo. And now we're coming into King Station. Like I said, this is kind of a central hub for us. We'll be coming back here a lot of times. So it's good to go ahead and sit at the bench here, go ahead and drop that Dream Gate, obviously get the Stag Station, and then we're going to jump up here and get this Hollowness Seal as well. But yeah, it's close to the Ancient Basin, it's close to the City of Tears, it's close to Resting Grounds, it's close to Kingdom's Edge. So a lot of the late game stuff that we need to do coming back to King Station is just the fastest way to get to a lot of places. So it's a good place for a Dream Gate. Alright, I usually hit this guy to get some soul for this Grimm Flame. Alright, so now we have completed the Grimm Flame quest, the second one. And so we are done with Grimm for a while. The only other time we need to equip him will be to get Brum to appear in Deep Nest. But other than that, we're done with Grimm. And so I'm going to go ahead and call the episode here. I'm walking back to King Station after I just told you guys that we can now Dreamgate there. But this will go ahead and mark the end of the second episode of the tutorial here. And when we come back, we'll start going after the dreamers. And like I said, getting some of those extra items and nail upgrades that we need. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 3.